Hey guys, how you going? I'm going to read a couple of articles to you tonight about ex-lap dancer claims Prince Andrew motorboated blowing raspberry on her breasts at Epstein's. Prince Andrew, who's now ended up in the public's and US prosecutors' crosshairs, is alleged to have frequented pedophile Jeffrey Epstein's house. An accuser has come forward in the case alleging he had sex with her while she was underage, something that the Duke of York has categorically denied. A former lap dancer has made jaw-dropping claims that further add to Prince Andrew's struggles, saying he once blew a raspberry on her breasts at one of convicted pedophile Jeffrey Epstein's infamous parties in his £77 million pound New York mansion. That's written in pounds. Speaking to the Sunday Mirror, the woman who hasn't given her name said she was paid by Epstein to hire girls that would meet Andrews, as well as other guests' preferences, and be curvy, like his ex-wife Fergie. The Duke seemed in good spirits and was out to enjoy himself. I always thought Andrew liked my breasts. When he started to say hello, he looked at them first rather than me, the woman recalled, expanding on the raspberry episode. He leant forward and put his face on them and blew a raspberry. I was shocked, but I laughed, thinking, wow, what was that? She then shared how Andrew struggled to remember the right word for the gesture. After Andrew motorboated me, he tried to remember what it was meant to be called. He didn't quite know the term motorboat. He said motor something. The excellent lap dancer recounted, going on to depict Epstein's royal guest. He was trying to come off cool, but he didn't know the words. I found him quite awkward, quite clumsy. He said I should be in a magazine for big-breasted women. It was a normal thing to happen at those parties, the woman, now 47, said. It is, meanwhile, unclear if Andrew was aware of any underage girls present at the parties in the late 1990s. Epstein made it clear he wanted to make Andrew happy. I was told to make sure he was looked after, that he had a drink, that he was okay, the woman said, detailing the way the two of them met at Epstein's. This comes in a question too, in one of the other articles. I saw Andrew at parties a couple of times a year, if not more. I would flirt with him and he would hit on me and was handsy. He would stand in close proximity looking at my breasts. He would hold my hands, put his arm around my waist, stroke my cheek. He used loyalty, his celebrity, to his advantage, the woman continued, revealing she recruited teenagers for the parties, younger sisters of other strippers, homeless kids, and runaways. The woman admitted that what she did was wrong. She has previously given evidence against Epstein under the name Tiffany Doe and said she is sharing her story to warn other women not to fall under the influence of rich, powerful men. Prince Andrew, 57, has now found himself in the epicenter of the Epstein-related scandal, since it came to light that he rubbed shoulders with the billionaire financier and convicted pedophile. Andrew, who, as Virginia Roberts claims, had sex 3 times with her, once when she was just 17, may soon be required to make a statement in a British court. The Prince categorically denied Roberts' claims in a Newsnight interview, also saying he cannot recall a joint picture with the then teenager. He has meanwhile ditched his royal duties and is reportedly relocating his charity office from Buckingham Palace. Jeffrey Epstein, who was convicted of procuring an underage girl for prostitution and served a light prison sentence of 13 months, faced new sex trafficking charges this past summer, but in August he was pronounced dead under suspicious circumstances in his New York cell while awaiting trial. And Epstein didn't kill himself. And the next one I wanted to read was this one. These are from Sputnik, and I use the Brave browser just because it stops ads and other things from going on that Google won't stop. And it's a good alternative, so I'll use it. And I'll put all the links below in the description, guys, so if you want to look it up yourself, you may have to download the Brave browser. I'm not sure, I'm sorry, guys. But it does protect you from ads and things like that to an extent. Lawyer of Epstein's accusers brands Prince Andrew enabler, warns about diplomatic situation. After an interview by the Duke of York in which he tried to account for his friendship with a pedophile financier, which turned into a public relations catastrophe, Lisa Bloom, representing Jeffrey Epstein's alleged victims, signalled that the British royal may have other disastrous career choices coming to light. US lawyer Lisa Bloom, who represents 5 women who have accused deceased financier Jeffrey Epstein of sex trafficking and sex abuse, told The Times that Prince Andrew was one of the enablers who could have stopped his friend but chose not to. She noted that if the Duke of York, who surely saw something, had shown basic human decency and reported his friend, other women could have been spared being sexually abused. He's done more than that. This could have been stopped, and instead, because there were so many enablers around Jeffrey Epstein, and apparently Prince Andrew was one of them, this just went on, she said. This sounds to me like the media are still covering up for Prince Andrew and Jeffrey Epstein, because it has come out that there's more, like even Bill Clinton was photographed with Jeffrey Epstein and a lot of underage bare-chested girls. So, Bloom reinforced her threat to proceed with legal actions to order the youngest son of England's Queen Elizabeth II to testify, insisting that the British royal should cooperate and permit his staff to do the same. I hope we don't have to subpoena him. We certainly could, if we determine that he has relevant information to our cases. I would fly to the UK and take his deposition. This happens all the time. It's only unusual because it's Prince Andrew, she noted. His refusal to give evidence and answer questions, however, could result in a diplomatic situation between the two allies, she said. The lawyer added that it would not be easy to subpoena Queen Elizabeth's son due to his position as a high-profile UK royal. I'd say just chuck the whole royal family out. Why are they even there? Obsolete. It's not going to be easy to subpoena someone like Prince Andrew. If he refused to come, we may have a diplomatic situation between the UK and the US. I hope it doesn't come to that, Bloom told BBC Breakfast. Bloom's legal colleague, Gloria Allred, also representing several of Epstein's alleged victims, also urged Prince Andrew to tell US investigators what he knows about the purported sex trafficking ring run by the notorious American pedophile and his close female associate, British socialite Ghislaine Maxwell. Will Prince Andrew testify? I'm sure I read yesterday that he was going to, or the day before. As the Telegraph reported, citing unnamed sources earlier this week, Prince Andrew is preparing to give evidence to a US investigation into billionaire Jeffrey Epstein. The newspaper said that Buckingham Palace is reportedly bracing for a subpoena from US authorities that would demand that the Duke of York testify in court on his friendship with the disgraced financier after reports emerged that Bloom said that the royal must cooperate with US authorities. Yeah, story surrounding Prince Andrew begs the question of why there's a monarchy at all. I agree. Developments came after the 59-year-old gave his first TV interview about the exploding scandal last week. Talking to BBC, he denied that he had sexual contact with Virginia Roberts Guthrie, then a minor and now one of Epstein's accuser, in 2001. Following the interview, the Duke of York announced that he had asked the Queen, his mother, for permission to let him step down from public duties and drop out of the public eye for the foreseeable future, due to his regrettable association with the pedophile Epstein that has now become a major disruption to the royal family. Prince Andrew said again that he deeply sympathises with Epstein's victims, and that was only after the backlash that he said nothing at all. Then this one here, The Guardian. Letter cast doubt on when Prince Andrew met Epstein, and in the first article it said that he met him in late 90s. Pressure on Prince grows as BT distances itself from him, and letter to the Times emerges. A claim by Prince Andrew during his controversial BBC interview to have first met the convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein in 1999 has been thrown into doubt after it emerged that the Duke's previous chief of staff said the two men met in the early 1990s. The claim was made by Alistair Watson, the Prince's private secretary for 9 years until 2012, who wrote a letter to the Times in 2011 in order to reject reports that the Duke was a friend of Saif Gaddafi, son of the former Libyan dictator. Addressing reports at the time about the Prince's relationship with Epstein, Watson said the two men were introduced in the early 1990s and that insinuations and innuendos about Andrew were without foundation. Buckingham Palace pushed back as suggestions of an apparent discrepancy in the account given by the Prince in his BBC interview last weekend, when he said that he met Epstein through the US financier's girlfriend in 1999. The Duke's words in the interview speak for themselves, said a spokesperson. The development came as BT has said it will not work with a digital training scheme that counts Prince Andrew as patron amid a growing exodus after the Duke's unrepentant interview about his friendship with Epstein, and pressure from a woman who says the convicted child sex offender trafficked her to London to meet the royal and have sex with him. The telecoms firm said it was reviewing its ties with the Duke of York, Inspiring Digital Enterprise Award, IDEA, an independent digital skills scheme with whom it has partnered in light of its relationship with Andrew. We've been working with the company since its launch in 2017, and our dealings have been with its executive directors, not its patron, the Duke of York, a BT spokesperson said. As a leading provider of online digital skills training, IDEA was the natural partner for our New Skills for Tomorrow program. However, in light of recent developments, we are reviewing our relationship with the organisation and hope that we might be able to further work with them in the event of a change in their patronage. In an apparent attempt to limit damage, a page on the IDEA website listing Salesforce, Google, BT, and Microsoft as corporate partners has been deleted. Microsoft said it had supported the Prince's entrepreneurial scheme, Pitch at Palace, some years ago, but had no ongoing involvement. Of course, they say that. Pitch at Palace has also removed its web page listing corporate supporters, and the educational charity Outward Bond Trust, which has a long association with the royal family, will consider his role as patron in a board meeting this week. Amid an unravelling of corporate support for the enterprise, at least one major company that has been involved with it is hoping Andrew could step aside for another royal such as Prince Harry or Prince William. Why? And do you also know that Prince Charles admitted, it's on video, you should be able to find it on YouTube, that he is related to Vlad the Impaler. So Prince Charles is Prince Harry and William's father, so they are also related to Vlad the Impaler. It's just some trivia for you there, guys. On Tuesday, Andrew was due to visit emergency workers and evacuated residents in Stainforth and Fish Lake near Doncaster during a tour with the army, but the trip to flood-hit South Yorkshire was cancelled. The Duke had been due to offer his support and thanks to the emergency services, but with an election campaign and a politician also visiting, it was not felt appropriate for the visit to continue due to Purdah rules, Buckingham Palace confirmed. Meanwhile, two Australian universities publicly publicly severed ties with Pitchat Palace on Tuesday after the banking services company Standard Chartered withdrew its support for the scheme, which claims to have generated more than 6,000 jobs, citing commercial reasons. On Monday, it emerged that KPMG, a founding partner of the initiative, would not be renewing its sponsorship, which ended on the 31st of October. Timeline: the Duke of York's relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. Andrew, who has failed to express regret over his friendship with Epstein, is facing mounting security amid allegations he had sex with Virginia Giuffre, then Roberts, who had allegedly been coerced by the financier when she was 17 and with whom the prince has been pictured. He has strenuously denied her claims. Barclays recently renewed its sponsorship of Pitchat Palace, but it's understood to be monitoring the situation. While AstraZeneca's 3-year partnership with the initiative is due to expire at the end of this year and is being reviewed. The English National Ballet and its patronage was being discussed by trustees, following reports that senior figures within the institution were lobbying for Andrew to be ousted as a patron. Royal Melbourne Institute of Technology in Australia said it had concluded its involvement with Pitchat Palace in October and was committed to ensuring its campus remains a safe and inclusive place to work and study. And I'm sure it does. Bond University was preparing to consider working again with Pitchat Palace in 2020, but in light of recent events, the university does not intend to seek any further involvement. Murdoch University in Perth was reviewing its support of the Pitchat Palace event in 2020. London Metropolitan University will review the Prince's role as patron at a Board of Governors meeting next week, and a student panel at Huddersfield University has passed a motion to lobby the Duke to resign as their Chancellor. And there you go, guys. Yeah. Epstein and Prince Andrew. What do you think? I think the newspapers are still trying to cover for them, trying to make light of the situation, because I've been hearing a lot that there were a lot of younger girls, like not just a 17-year-old, but it may have gone down to as little as 11, 12-year-olds. And these are trafficked children. These are not prostitutes, as I keep saying. They call them prostitutes to try to lessen the guilt that these people should all be locked up. They should just completely, they're never going to be rehabilitated. I think there's something wrong with them. And why do we have a royal family? Because Australia pays tax that goes to them. They own part of our land. I keep saying this, but why? They're useless. We have no, because the Queen won't stand up for Australia, or any country for that matter, we have no constitution, because she's the one behind it who has to stand up. So, yeah, and I don't know why the UK, or anyone for that matter, would worship the royal family. We have the biggest criminals in charge, guys. The biggest criminals run everything and make our laws and our medicines. Everything, guys. Anyway, something big's coming down the pike. If you look at what's going on with Ukraine and Joe Biden and his crack-smoking, cocaine-sniffing son was up to, and I believe that's going to be bigger than people think, because I believe that goes all the way to Obama and the Clintons, and a lot is going to be exposed very shortly, guys, I believe. From what I'm hearing, Could be the Clintons will be exposed for crimes against children. So anyway, guys, like, subscribe, comment, and I'll talk to you soon. Okay, guys, have a good one. Bye.